In the stillness of deep meditation, we often experience a profound sense of peace when we awaken to the truth that we are pure awareness, a state where we simply exist as I am, a state that is separate from our ego identities, our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions, all of which appear to define who we are in this world. When we abide in this pure awareness, we begin to witness how the energies that animate us, our breath, our emotions, our mind chatter, sensations, they come alive, they dance their full vibrancy, and they die. They come alive, dance, and die. Yet, through all this movement, the witnessing self within us, the pure awareness, remains still, unchanging. Like the vast sky in which stars, galaxies, all phenomena appear and disappear. This profound experience brings us great peace because we know ourselves to be unassailable. Now, as this experience of witnessing ourselves continues to unfold, we begin to ask ourselves, if I exist, I am separate from my identities and emotions, who is witnessing? Is my experience of pure awareness different from another's? What is the source of all this movement within me and without? In time, the knowing dawns that the eternal witness within us is also the very same seer, the supreme consciousness, that is the eternal witness of every form and every phenomenon in creation. It is this recognition that I am that, I am that, I am one with existence. So when we touch that pure awareness, this place of pure awareness within us, we also touch that supreme groundless ground that stretches beyond the confines of matter, time, space. A natural outcome of this limitlessness experience. It is a limitlessness feeling. A natural outcome is bliss, ananda, an experience of heart fullness, a fullness of the heart that is so indescribably complete that there are no words to describe it, and people have called it heart consciousness, Shiva consciousness, Christ consciousness. Or as Ram Dass would say, far out, man. Once we are permanently situated in this pure state of awareness within us, not our false identities, we are fully liberated. Wait, how? Well, for one, our actions and responses are no longer purely driven by the constructs of our conditioned mind, or it's not driven by our subconscious patterns of behaving. Also, we're no longer fixated on outcomes, because you see, the need to cling to an outcome, fixate on an outcome, it comes from the conditioned mind, which wants things to be a certain way, a fixed way, because it is a responsible thing to do, because it is the right thing to do. If this, then that. If I do this, then I get that. If I were to be this way, then this should happen. So the conditioned mind actually engages with life, with love, as if it were a game, with rules and with a script to follow. This kind of engagement is conditional, is transactional. It's not to say, I'm not judging the conditioned mind, but it's good to know how it works in order to understand its effect on us. So when we are fully liberated, we actually experience a definitionless freedom. So when we are liberated, we experience a definitionless freedom. It is a freedom that is beyond all concepts. It is not a freedom from something, it is not a freedom for something, a freedom to be something. It is simply a freedom in the midst of everything and anything. They call it spontaneous freedom. That's the nature of consciousness. Svatantarya, that's what they say. So every action, when we are liberated, every action of ours becomes spontaneous and creative and truly responsive to life. Not responsible for life, but truly responsive to life. So this unconditioned response to life, it springs from that very ground of inner wisdom, that supreme conscious ground. It springs from that ground of inner freedom, that field of infinite potentials and possibilities. So when we surrender to the play of the present moment with spontaneous freedom and freshness, pure unconditional love becomes our natural condition. So engaging with life in this way, with the full force of our being, full force of our physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, intellectual being, our unique signature, is our true dharma. That word that we've heard about. I often felt it was heavy, but actually dharma is our natural way of being. And it's actually the flight of the playful, uncaged heart. When we live our dharma, we truly become uncaged. We're liberated. So I use the term play intentionally here because creation itself is seen as a Lila or a divine play of the Supreme in the spiritual ethos of Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, the eternal way of living. Sanatana Dharma was what Indians used to call it before invaders came and coined this term called Hinduism. Sanatana Dharma, the Tao, they're all similar. So creation is seen as a divine play, and the world is the stage where this divine play unfolds. And where every role in this play is performed by the One, Supreme, as many as you, me, the earth, the sky, the river, the water, space, everything. And why? Just so the One can experience itself in its exquisite beauty, in an infinite number of ways, out of pure unconditional love for itself. Pure unconditional love is its only motivation. And this pure unconditional love is naturally present in everything and everyone in creation. So, if the Supreme is in an eternal play, eternal playful love affair with itself, as you and I, and if pure love is our very essence, then a more direct way of experiencing this love, pure love within us, is by entering into a conscious, personal, playful, intimate relationship with the Divine, by using the power of intense emotion of love that is directed toward the Supreme. This is the path of Bhakti Yoga. This is Bhakti, devotion, extreme, ecstatic love towards the Divine is Bhakti. So this is the path of Bhakti Yoga, path of pure love, sacred love, the path of finding liberation through attachment. This is the path of finding liberation through attachment, unlike the other paths which, are paths for finding liberation through detachment. Detaching the mind, detaching the body. This one is about attaching yourself. So now in the discipline of Bhakti Yoga, as we evolve, nurture and culture this divine, this love we have for the Divine, it eventually bridges the gulf between us and the Supreme that is initially external to us, but as we mature, we see that it's actually inside of us. So while the Supreme itself is beyond name and form and cannot be described, the intensity of Bhakti itself is felt most when our beloved is a Supreme Person, a universal person. Because it is the only being that is capable of unfailing love and unmatched reciprocation. So in our performance tonight, we take Krishna to be that Supreme Person who was born 5,000 years ago. And he was not only the fountainhead of pleasure and the reservoir of all loving moods, but he was a master of divine intimacy and playfulness. So there are many ways in the Bhakti tradition to express the love of Krishna, but 5 loving moods are considered supreme in order to experience transcendental love. It is when we relate to him as a serene devotee. It is when we relate to him as a devotee in dedicated service, as a friend, as a loyal friend, as a doting parent, and finally, as an irresistible lover. The emotional quality of each mood, each loving mood, gets aesthetically more intense and complex as we explore this path of Bhakti, eventually culminating in mystical union with the Supreme within, liberation. So, as we explore these 5 loving moods today through song and story, all that requires of us is, if you so choose, is to get into the mood of the devotee as he or she experiences their love for Krishna. But before we start, we'd like to perform a few songs that herald the birth of Krishna.